week's Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Welcome along to the frontiers of Europe for round 4 of the AOR F1 season, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from the beautiful city of Baku. Well, after the previous 3 rounds of some absolutely scintillating racing, where we have seen the likes of Tyrell, Snitzer and Michael dominate the proceedings so far, we arrive for the second street circuit of the season. Since 2016 we have seen some great racing action here, mainly dominated by safety cars, but if we get safety cars here, that may be a minor miracle given the very rarity we see it. But before we head to the 80-minute qualifying session, let's take a quick look at this 6-kilometer circuit, which is one of the longest on the calendar this season. 75% of the lap is taken at full throttle, and one of the longest flat-out sections of the season will see the majority of the overtaking actions on the main DRS zone between turn 16 and turn 1, and the infamous castle section, of course, between turns 8 and 10 will test the driver's skill. Any slight contact there and, well, we could see a little bit of a pile-up, which we have seen in previous seasons. 26 laps for this week's race, and will we get that bonus point for the fastest lap? We have not managed that so far this season, but we shall see if anyone can do that. And in terms of the tyre compounds, we have yet to see any wet weather action so far this season, but we will see use of the inters and wets. It is a medium range of Pirelli tyre compounds, the soft compound, a viable qualifying tyre, unlike the Chinese Grand Prix last time out. And now a quick look at the championship standings after 3 rounds this season, and it's the 3 drivers who have won the last 3 AOR F1 championships who make the top 3. A 10-point gap between Tyrell, Schnitzel and Jim Michael, with Truesdale further behind with 42 points. And then behind them, Speed Bari, after his superb podium last week, moves up to 4th in the championship, who stayed frosty in a very solid 5th ahead of Casper, with Jim Roy, Widgers, Ollie D and RC Alonso making up the rest of the top 10 in the drivers' standings, as it looks set to be an epic confrontation between Schnitzel and Michael for the rest of the season, given what we have seen so far. And in the team championship, though, the dream lineup of the season 15 and 16 champions have given Williams a 28-point advantage in the Constructors' Championship, with Toro Rosso well behind the top 2, McLaren and Red Bull making up the top 5, and Racing Point and Ferrari, well, their drivers will be looking for much better things this week as they try and get off the foot of the table and avoid the dreaded wooden spoon, which is one position that no team wants to be in at the end of the season. Well, my name is Alimonda, and joining me in the commentary box, as usual, is none other than Andy Campbell. Well, Andy, of course, this weekend of motorsport has really been dominated by one thing, and that is the news of Anthoine Hubert's tragic demise in the Formula 2 feature race at Belgium at the weekend, and share a few quick thoughts on that as we head to what is a wet qualifying session here.
Yes, hello, good evening, salam, as they say here in Azerbaijan. I'm not going to make any jokes about her. I'm running late to the commentary box tonight, as you just mentioned there, Mark. A bit more of a sombre mood this weekend with what happened in Spa in the F2 race yesterday. We obviously lost a very talented young man in Anthoine Hubert, during that massive and horrible accident, and obviously our well wishes and everything go to his friends and family, of course. We're going to try and, make this as entertaining as possible still. He was a racer. I'm sure that's why they had the race today. He would have wanted things to go on, and we will remember him in our own way. We'll have a moment of silence later on between qualifying and the race, but in terms of the action tonight, we should be expecting to see some very good action. You obviously mentioned about the extreme longness of the straights. Well, it's not really a straight, it's got a couple of curves in it with the DRS zone. I could make for an awful awful lot of slipstreaming action. The castle section is going to be a very key point, one of the tightest areas in the entire calendar. So this should be a fun race, and quite a lot of drivers out early in the intermediate conditions. I have been told from pit lane that we are expecting that it will dry up towards the end of the session, so we might still see some dry weather running before the end of the session. The race itself will be dry, however, so there's going to be no issue with rain when it comes to the actual race itself, so it should be an exciting one here tonight.
Yes, well, no, I will just say, adding to what you just mentioned about Anthoine Hubert, my condolences to his family. A very tragic event, but the show must go on, as they say. And Andy, your impressions of the championship so far? I mean, it's been dominated by two drivers, really, with a really nice cameo from Truesdale, the Season 15 champion of Bahrain, but nonetheless, it is TRL Schnitzel and Jim Michael who have really dominated the showing so far, the only two race winners from the opening 3 rounds of this Season 18.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those two have been pretty much sort of class of the field so far. It's been a very tight field, though, at the best of times as well, especially just behind. But obviously the season 17 and 16 champions, as you say, taking all 3 of the first round. Schnitzel took the first 2 races, Michael winning last week, very dominant fashion in Shanghai. And obviously with this being a street circuit, a very different challenge here, which is going to play, it's going to be interesting to see whose hands it plays into. Can we maybe see a bit of a wild card come out here this evening? We've got 17 drivers out, so we've got a good run and a good run out here tonight regardless. We are missing a few drivers. Lee Finley is missing again, Jim Roy, Nardi Perez are missing as well, as is Viegers, who was in Belgium and he's now concentrating on the esports series coming up as well, so he's going to be missing next week, I believe. Also, we also now have a new addition to the lineup, which is S2V Danny MG, who I'm currently watching on his first flying lap in the Haas, so he's a new addition to the league as well. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on, as I'm just watching him drift his way out of turn 16 as Schnitzel puts himself into what is currently provisional pole position, just about a 10th clear at Truesdale in second. So already, even in these tricky conditions, it's the Williams and the Mercedes battling it out at the top.
Danny MG is a former race winner at this level. I believe he won a race in season 17. This does not look like a particularly competitive time. Some of them certainly struggling with these interconditions, well off the pace so far of the leaders. But yeah, not much to choose between Schnitzel and Truesdale so far, less than a 10th, and none of the other drivers have got anywhere near that. So they're the only 2 drivers currently in the 1 minute 49s. Yellow's in sector 3, just trying to see who that could be. No, just going to see. No, Jim Michael's actually chosen to stay in the pits for now, so maybe he's waiting for the conditions to improve before coming out, which, to be fair, is not exactly an unwise decision because, street circuits in particular, very treacherous in these sort of wet conditions. As DRS has actually been enabled already, so in fact we're actually technically already in dry conditions, although there's still a fair amount of spray out there. But race control, well, they clearly want to see some crashes by the looks of it, because they've enabled the DRS somewhat earlier than you would expect, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously still quite a bit of rain falling, but it must be light enough where they feel comfortable to allow the DRS to be enabled now. So that's going to obviously then see the lap time start to tumble. Wait to see who's the first one to venture out on the track on a set of slick tyres. I don't think we're going to see that for another 3 to 5 minutes at least, but it is going to be a mad dash come the end of the session when everybody is out on track. We've only got about 7 cars on track at the moment, and the majority of drivers still in pit lane, gone out, maybe done an exploratory lap, headed back in. You can see I've got the tyre graphics up, and a lot of them in pit lane have already got soft compound tyres selected for when they do head back out. So I think a lot of drivers are going to wait, and we're going to have ourselves a bit of a Baku City traffic jam before the end of this session.
Yes, I mean, unlike China, and Hugh Golf bouncing over that curb and did well to actually not make contact with the wall. And I think those Alimondas are returning back to the pit lane, not wanting to do any further race. Yeah, so they're waiting for the track to ridge up, but it is still raining. It's going to be very tricky to get them up to temperature at the moment. But yes, unlike China, the soft tyre here is, a perfectly viable qualifying tyre, because tyre wear not particularly an issue here, because there's only a few braking zones here. There's quite a lot of the lap is taken at full throttle as they return to pits, but no one brave enough yet. So, in fact, the only car on track is Stay Frosty, and as I say that, he also returns to the pits. So, currently only 7 drivers have set any sort of time, and Alex, one of the veterans, certainly not representative for his pace level because he is a massive 10 seconds off the pace, but those particular times are going to come tumbling down once we get drivers out onto those dry combos. And in fact, we have some drivers coming out now. So LRR2 for Ferrari and Jim Michael, in fact, following in behind him. So, well, in terms of the F2 graduates, it was actually VSR Blizzard of the 3 drivers who scored the first points for one of those 3 drivers. LR2 and Tactician will be looking for their first points of the season. And Andy, what did you make of the Renault team? You know, they struggled really in the first 2 races, but both of them got into the points last week. So Ollie and Blizzard, they'll be really pleased with that, and they'll be hoping to build on that this week.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it's been a bit of a tricky start to the season, especially for Blizzard. First time out in Australia, done a cracking job in qualifying. An incident in lap 1 obviously cost them. But last week out in Shanghai, they were both very solid. Good amount of points for the team to get them on the board. It means they're no longer towards the bottom end. They have risen up a few places. So the bottom 2 positions, as you mentioned, are now occupied by Racing Point and Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Ollie D's even got in the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship as well at the moment. So it's a good start. They've got to also use this to move forward and progress from there, keep it solid, keep in the points where possible, and they'll be able to have their own championship battles. This track, obviously any street circuit, has got the possibilities of throwing up a random result, one big crash that takes out a number of cars in the field, maybe a number of the lead runners possibly as well. A safety car can bunch everyone up as well. Anything can happen here, and we just need to keep an eye out and see what goes on. But now we're starting to see the drivers coming out of pit lane. There's not many, about half the drivers at least are out or on an out lap at the moment, and we're going to soon see the first off the dry laps. R2 and Michael will be the first 2 drivers to set a lap time, but they're going to come across some traffic that's just came out of pit lane as well. So hopefully the other drivers are aware that there is drivers on the track that are on a fast lap just now and keep out of the way. One of the Haas drivers there keeping out of Michael's way. I'm keeping an eye on the Williams as he comes towards the end of the back straight into turn number 3, and we'll see how the lap times start to tumble like an absolute fruit machine.
Yeah, so just trying to catch a driver so we can do a hot lap. See who else. So we're going to see if we can get someone different. Tactician is on an out lap still. What about Blizzard? Blizzard is approaching. So yeah, I think we may do a hot lap with Blizzard because he's one of the drivers heading for the line that we haven't featured this season yet. So we'll catch him shortly. Just going to keep an eye on Michael because he is one of the first drivers who set out, and he's just in the middle of Sector 2 at the moment. But we're going to go on board with VSR Blizzard as he heads for the line. So Andy, take us for a lap of this Baku city circuit.
Yeah, so here we go. We've got 3.73 miles in front of us here, just over 6 kilometres down this extremely long front straight, DRS wide open up to over 213 miles an hour. Hit the brakes around about 100 metres into turn number 1, third gear using all of the curbs and then some through turn 1, down into turn number 2, tricky corner, quickly grabbing first gear before grabbing second and third to eliminate wheel spin back onto the power, DRS wide open, clear track up ahead at the moment. There's no one in front of Blizzard. He comes up to turn number 3, around about 100 metres down to third gear, chuck it into the corner, a short squirt up to turn number 4. Tricky corner this, I'm always locking up into there, and then coming up to turn number 5 and 6. Now, this is a tricky bit as well. It's a lot slower and more deceptive than you think, especially that right-hander there through turn number 6, heading up towards turn number 7. We're now into sector 2 and coming up to that tricky castle section. This bit can catch you out. You can get a warning there and validations, and now into turns 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 on the exit here, the left-hander, and you want to get a good run out of here as well, because this is a long curving straight. Basically it's just flat out from here all the way up towards what is turn 15. You're looking for the braking point around about 75 metres, really jumping across the curves there, clipping the wall on the exit nearly as we come down towards turn number 16. You again need another good exit out of here, use a little bit of the runoff, avoid the wall, and now it's absolutely foot to the floor all the way through here, through what is turns 18, 19, the curve of turn 20, looking for the DRS point. It comes up shortly. There it is now, DRS wide open. We head towards the line. We're starting to see the dry weather times dropping. What can Blizzard do? It's a 39.3 for the Renault, but look at that, Schnitzel on a 38.2. Hugo in second, 3 times down, and Michael only fourth at the moment on that opening lap, but expect those times to come down. There's still a few drivers in the pits, but most of them are on track now.
Yes, as the dry line gets ever more, I think we will getting into the 37s for the final run. So I think these drivers will be trying to get back to the pits to get ready for their final run. So Hugo moving up to second, Danny MG actually moving up to P2 with that last effort, so that's pretty decent. It's going to catch Casper, because I think Casper is approaching the end of a flying run here, just in the middle of sector 3. So let's see what Casper can do. Got a superb podium in the opening race of the season, then missed Bahrain, and then it was a race to forget at China. So it's been a very topsy-turvy season so far for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he is returning to the pits, so obviously invalidated somewhere. So no one really out there. So VSL Wayne is out there on an outlap, so we'll just keep an eye on him. He's just in the middle of sector 2, but for the time being. So the likes of Truesdale, Stay Frosty, Danny Alves and Alex have got some work to do. R2 as well, 3 seconds off the pace at the moment. And Casper, Nicholas Matteo, Tactician, RC Alonso, Speed Bari and VSL Wayne have yet to set a time, so they're having some issues so far, whether it's indoors or dry conditions. So this is one of those tracks where you really have to set the car up for as low downforce as possible, because the flat out section is 2,000 meters from turn 16 all the way down to the turn 1. And you know, if you have too much downforce, you will have no hope of defending the positions there. And Andy, we could potentially see, as we have seen in previous seasons, some 2, maybe even 3 wide situations as a battle for position.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it's one of those tracks that engineers and drivers, in a way, hate quite badly, because it's such a tricky one to set up. You need the low downforce for that long run down towards turn 1 and towards turn 3, but you still need obviously the downforce for the middle sector, where you've got a lot of 90-degree corners. You've got the castle section. It's a tricky one to get the balance right, and obviously you've got to have a car that's compliant with the curbs as well, because there's certain corners where you really need to be on the curbs and really pushing the car through the corners. So it is a very tricky one for the drivers to pick up. Some obviously more confident than others in their opening stints here. A lot of drivers in pit lane, but that pit lane is going to depart very shortly, and I'm going to expect all 17 drivers on track. We've got 5 drivers out just now, 4 are on out laps getting out early, and we're starting to see a mix of tyres as well, a few medium tyred runners out there as well. Currently watching Wayne in the Ferrari. He's coming through sector 1 up towards turns 5 and 6. He's on the soft tyres, still not set a lap time, has the German in the Ferrari. And just to remind everyone that is watching as well, the tyres this week are the C4 for the soft compound tyre, the C3 for the medium, and the C2 for the hard tyres. We are expecting maybe 136 to 137 for pole, depending on tyres, but that would require teammate cooperation or a good slipstream, which can be worth anything up to 3 to 4 temps, I've been told, in the build up to the race. And we're expecting it should be a one-stop strategy, but you never know, someone might just take a chance and go for 2, especially if there is any safety cars.
Yeah, so we're going to stick on board VSL Wayne until he finishes his lap. As the likes of Schnitzel, Michael and Truesdale all coming out now, although you know the Williams drivers 5th and 8th only at the moment, so they would not want to be in those grid positions at the end of the session, so they've got a bit of work to do. Here comes VSL Wayne then for Ferrari, desperate for some results here today, given they are bottom of the team standings, and it is going to be, and it's 137.210. Then that tells you, wow, the track has suddenly evolved, and if VSL Wayne is getting times like that, these times are about to absolutely collapse, so we have to keep an eye on that. Now, what I have noticed, Andy, interestingly, is that the 2 McLarens have actually gone out on mediums, so they're looking for a different strategy in terms of quality. So in terms of their times, I do want to keep an eye on them. So I think we'll have a look at Stave Frosty, who's currently in the top 5 of the championship. A very solid start to the season for him. Only the top 5 in the championship have actually all scored points at every single round so far, Stave Frosty being one of them. And oh, RC Alonso disqualified from the session for parking in a dangerous location. Well, that is bizarre.
Yeah.
And Speed Bari, oh, and actually I just saw Stay Frosty just chip part of his wing. So he just ruined that medium run completely there. So Speed Bari must have crashed somewhere on track. And yeah, he's given it up. So we're going to switch our attention to the battle for pole, which will be likely between Schnitzel, Truesdale, Michael, and a few others. It's a shame Flores isn't here this week because he would certainly be in the fight for pole. So Schnitzel's in sector 2. Let's see where Michael and the other Williams driver is of Truesdale. He's behind him actually, and Truesdale is behind him. So we will stick with that sequence. And who else is out there? Let's have a look at Blizzard. Blizzard's in P6 at the moment. Blizzard is, and Blizzard, the back end, skipping out on him there as we switch to him, and got the car calmed down just about. Still a little slippy out there, not a completely dry session here today in qualifying. Stay Frosty has decided to retire in the pit, so his session is over. So let's go to Tyrrell Schnitzel, who's heading down towards the end of Sector 2. And this is looking likely to be an attempt for pole position. But look at that, Ollie D tried to respond to VSL Wayne's time, but actually only managed P2, 4/10 off. So not able to get near those low 37s. And well, I wonder if VSL Wayne has caught the rest of the field off guard. But here comes Tyrrell Schnitzel heading for the line. What's this going to be for the championship leader and reigning AOR F1 champion on PS4? It is going to be a 1:36.837. Wow, so he has smashed that over 3/10. Now let's switch immediately to Michael, because Michael is heading for the line.
No, he
hasn't improved.
He's going to be outside the top 10 before long as well, so that's disastrous for Michael. Great time from Schnitzel. Plenty going on, a few drivers already improving. You mentioned obviously Ollie D getting up there, Truesdale now up the third, Wayne's in second, R2 up to fourth. It's just dropping like flies everywhere. Plenty of people pushing. I'll let you know some of the things I did see after the session quickly, but we've got a few drivers coming to the line.
Here comes Danny MG, who's got a great tow off that McLaren. That could really help him. Where's Danny MG going to end up? It's going to be P3. So a really good qualifying session for Danny MG on his return to the top tier. And I have to say, Andy, what a session for Ferrari. P2 and P6. Oh no, Casper for Alfa Romeo out of nowhere in P2, just over 2/10 off the championship leader. So Casper out of nowhere in P1, and well, I have to say it's not been an ideal session for Schnitzel's championship rivals, but we'll go through the full order in a moment. Just to mention, there's going to be a moment of silence between quali and the race once I've read out the results, just so you know. So Tyrrell Schnitzel takes another pole position this season, but it's quite a mixed up grid from that session. Casper in P2, VSL Wayne with his best quality of the season, P3, Danny MG, P4 on his return, Truesdale at 5th, Taxician 6th, R2 7th, Ollie D and Blizzard up next for Renault, Alex in P10, Nicholas Mateo in P11, Hugo from P12, Daniel Alves in P13, Jim Michael P14, an absolute shocker from the race winner from China, Stay Frosty in 15, and Speed Bari crashed out in quali, and RC Alonso was disqualified. So my goodness, what a session that was, but Schnitzel in the place he wants to be. Okay, well, we're going to go silent as a quick tribute to Anthoine Hubert, who tragically lost his life yesterday on Saturday. Right, and we are back here at the Baku City Circuit for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, round 4 of the AOR F1 Championship. And the headlines from qualifying, TRL Schnitzel taking another pole position this season, and his nearest championship rival, only 10 points behind in the standings, is starting in P14. So Michael may have to make an epic comeback drive just to limit the damage to TRL Schnitzel exactly where he wants to be as he looks to try and successfully defend his championship. So Andy, in terms of the tyre selections, what's caught your eye outside the top 10?
Well, not too much at the moment. Most of them have gone for the hard compound tyres, going to go as long as possible. Only Nicholas Matteo and Michael, who's ended up in 14th, as you mentioned, are on the mediums, just looking to use that extra grip off the line. Just real quickly, while they're on the formation lap from qualifying, Speed Barry crashed out. I believe it was down at turn 16. I only caught the end of it, unfortunately, but he crashed out. And then down at that same point, Alonso spun the car. He was trying to wait for others to go past, and that's why the game disqualified him for being quote-unquote parked in a dangerous location. He was actually waiting for other cars to go past him before moving, but the game obviously kicked him out anyway, so that was disastrous there for him, and they'll start from the back of the field. Top 10 all on the soft compound tyres, as mentioned in qualifying. We do have a dry race here. We're not expecting any rain. It's much more sunnier here, as you can see now, so this is going to be interesting. Schnitzel's in a great place. His nearest championship rival, Truesdale's, in 5th, and his closest rival, Michael, is all the way down in 14th place after that terrible qualifying session, so he needs to take advantage and get away as quickly as possible into turn 1, but anything can happen, and in Baku and on a street circuit it usually does. This is going to be a very tasty race indeed.
Yes, and you know, in terms of strategy, Andy, before we head for the starting lights, it's going to be just a simple one-stop strategy here, isn't it, in these full dry conditions?
Yeah, sorry, definitely. I was distracted there for a quick second. Sorry, I didn't realise that. Yeah, we're expecting it to be one stop here. Likely to be soft to hard. Expect the soft runners in the top 10 to probably pit somewhere around about lap 4 to 6, possibly. Haven't done already 3 laps as well. Those outside going for the hard compound tyres, they'll be able to run quite long into the race, maybe into lap 18, 19 or so. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race indeed.
Right, well, here come the 5 red lights then to get us underway here at Baku for the second street race of the season. Lights out and away we go. It's a decent start. Look out for the Williams on row 2. That is Truesdale getting a jump on the Ferrari, but Schnitzel maintains the lead. Danny MG challenging for second behind. Truesdale up to 4th. Ed VSL Wayne, who got a very sluggish start. It's almost 3 wide into turn 2 there. And Truesdale Wayne getting squeezed, and there's a lot of action going on behind, so I'm going to switch to that for a moment. R2. Tactician all battling away as they try and get some positions on lap 1. Schnitzel's maintained lead as he needed to do, but Casper right, and contact, and VSR Wayne has gone into the wall and he has lost a decent chunk of his front wing, so that has ruined a good quality session already, and I think R2 may have been caught in that already. So, well, glum faces at the Ferrari pit wall already as their promising qualifying session may have already gone up in smoke. But Truesdale up to 4th at the moment. Not too many other changes within the top 10. Danny MG is superb P3 at the moment, but Schnitzel, what he will be trying to do is breaking that 1 second because the slipstream steer is so powerful. But let's just quickly have a look and get these changes of positions up. Who has been the big winner so far in this race? Not too many changes of position as I mentioned, but Danny MG and Truesdale making excellent starts to get ahead of VSL Wayne, who isn't used to being this far up the grid, at least so far this season, and maybe had a little bit of a lapse in concentration for the start because he did get jumped by Truesdale especially. Jim Michael has gained 2 places from his P14, so it's currently in P12. But as they head for the line for the start of lap number 2, it is Schnitzel, Casper, Danny MG, Truesdale, VSL Wayne, R2, Tactician, Blizzard, Ollie D and Alex. Although I do believe that the Ferrari of VSL Wayne may be considering pit stop. No, he carries on. Anyone behind him? No. Tactician is trying to close the gap. I think Blizzard's maybe thinking about a move on Tactician behind. So far, so good. But look at that, Andy. Quite a clean start, apart from what we saw of the Ferraris. But Casper, it's certainly keeping the championship leader honest so far, within half a second of him.
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty clean through the back. There was a couple of 2-3 wides, bit of closeness, but no other damage that I could see other than what happened to Wayne with his wing coming out of turn number 3. Michael has made up the most positions. He's just going past on Nicholas Matteo down into turn 3 now, so that's a 3rd position gained off the start line. But that took him a few corners to get by the Haas driver. He was nearly done into turn 1, couldn't get the move done, so it's going to be tricky for him. He's going to have to be patient and try and just pick his way through the field here. Meanwhile, Daniel Alves and Hugo having a right bit of a ding-dong there. That's going to allow Frosty the chance to get by his teammate as well down the field. And these 3 are coming up towards turn 7, side by side. And McLaren's going to chuck it down the inside. That's not really an overtaking place, Frosty. And Hugo holds the position for now. Need to be careful they don't lose any more wing parts in there. But plenty going on. Not too many big gainers or losers, though, as we said. And Casper is definitely keeping the leader honest up at the front.
Yeah, this is a real return form of Kasparov. His disappointing race at Shanghai last week, and they've already broken DRS of Danny MG behind, and that's going to certainly leave Danny MG very vulnerable to the season 15 champion Truesdale. But let's see if Casper can get anywhere near Snitzel. Snitzel's straight line speed looks absolutely incredible. So I may switch to Truesdale to see if he's closing the gap to Danny MG. And yes, indeed he is. DRS will be activated then by race control as we start the beginning of lap 3. Fastest lap of the race, 1:41.552. by the championship leader at the moment, who is going to take an enormous lead in the championship as it stands in Michael Congevic. Michael has gained another place into the points already then for the season 16 champion. But Truesdale, I think he'll be waiting for the end of this lap and he will look for an easy DRS overtake. There's a bit of a gap now between 4th and 5th. So VSR Wayne may have a bit of a train behind him. He's got R2, Tactician, Blizzard, Ollie D, all within DRS range of each other. And then Michael, well, he'll be trying to get up to the back of the Renaults to make up more positions. Alex in P11, Nicholas Matera in P12 will be looking to end his run where he's, I believe, retired from every single race so far this season. So I think even a finish would be a bonus for the Haas driver. Hugo from P13 and 2 McLarens, well, they tried something different in quali. We're going on the meetings. It didn't work out for them and they have lost a bag of positions so far. As we watch Truesdale closing the gap. He's getting very close now to the back of Danny MG, who's had a very impressive return so far, but he's got a real fight on his hands. Truesdale especially performing absolutely stellingly at the Bahrain Grand Prix, where he came so close to winning that particular race, and he'll be looking to get another podium. Because Williams are the only team who've had at least one driver on the podium every race so far this season, outside of Mercedes. Hence their 28-point advantage at the top of the standings. So let's have a look at, let's keep an eye on Truesdale actually, because I don't think Casper's going to be close enough. He's actually just fallen out of a second now, Schnitzel. So Schnitzel definitely in command of this rate at the moment. Truesdale then flying through the final sector, nearly 2 kilometers this final sector, flat out to the end. And Danny MG, well, I don't think he's going to have much of a prayer of defending this. He's not even going to try and defend it as Truesdale sweeps past him with ease. Up to P3 he goes, and up next he'll be looking to get to Casper. Now just going to have a quick look behind. What about R2? Is R2 able to get ahead of his teammate? I think Wayne's damaged car is starting to slow these guys up somewhat. So, you know, he's going to have to get more. And look at that. Because of the speed difference, Andy, Michael's actually already caught up to the back of this rather large train. And I think he'll be looking to gain some places shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. He's starting to motor along very, very quickly indeed. Alonso's just came into pit lane. He was on the hard compound tyres now. He's just retired from the session as well. He had wing damage. That ruined him. So we've already got retirement. AI's brought his car back out on the track, but it should stay out of the way easily enough. But yeah, you know, Truesdale making that easy move with DRS. Danny's sticking with him for now, though. He'll try and repay the favour, but he's got a couple of seconds to make up if he wants to get close to Casper. Casper's dropped off of the DRS range now. Yellow flag somewhere in sector 1. He's going to bottom my way through and see if I can find out what's happened to anybody. It'll probably be Alonso's car. Yes, it is, because everybody else is still running. And I'm going to say this just now, actually. Keep an eye out later on for speed, Barry, because I think he's got a lot more speed. And we have, I mean, pardon the pun, but obviously he's had really good performances so far this season. He's crashing qualifying obviously ruined it. He's stuck at the back, unable to do much. But yeah, keep an eye on him later on in the race as Michael gets his way past on Ollie D. Yeah,
Ollie D had a huge moment. Went a bit too much over the curbs and he lost the car on exit. Michael had to take avoiding action. Luckily, there was no major contact between them, so Michael getting a place for free there. Now he's closing in on Blizzard, who's going to have DRS though on the cars up ahead. And actually Tactician very close to the back of R2 as VSR Wayne's finally given up. I think he's, oh no, R2's actually pitting. So Just tell me in a few moments, Andy, has R2 got damage as well? Because he's actually come in before his teammate. So, oh, and Michael! Oh, Michael's made a huge error. He absolutely got his braking wrong and he slammed into the wall. Oh, absolute disaster for the Season 16 champion. We saw that live. Just took too much speed into the corner. He wasn't making an overtake. And, well, Tyrrell Schnitzel, if he can hear that happening, the team will be telling him, but you have a slight wry grin. His nearest championship rival has had a huge disaster as we started the 5th lap of this race, but that is a huge moment for the championship at this early stage, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. There is damage to that wing on the Williams as well, so that's going to hinder him. He is on the mediums. He was hoping to run a bit longer into this race, hopefully up to maybe lap 10, possibly, maybe even lap 12 at a push, and that's going to hamper his strategy. You were asking in terms of R2, yes, he did have wing damage. They have changed the wing on that Ferrari. He's now in the hard tyres. He's going to try and run that all the way to the end of the race. It's a long way to go, but they should be capable of doing it. The tyres will be a little bit worse for wear, obviously, come the end of the race, but Michael now has got to try and, it's damage limitation now for Michael. He's got to try and do the best he can to stay as close as possible, maybe even still try and fight with some of these guys around him, but that car will not be handling well. It'll be understeering quite badly with that missing end plate on the right hand side of his car. We'll need to keep an eye on how long he feels he can stay out there before he has to come into the pits, repair that and make his pit stop. So we'll need to see how that one goes. He's keeping up with the Reynolds just now though, as Blizzard and Ollie D are having a little bit of a ding-dong between themselves, and Michael's got a box seat for this one.
Yes.
And he's pitting. He's coming into the pits actually, along with Blizzard.
Yeah, I think, I have a feeling that Blizzard may have got some damage because he looks so slow out of the final sector, which allowed him to get so close to him. Just going to have a quick look at Blizzard actually. Yeah, wing change for Blizzard. I suspect he had some damage because he was going so slowly coming out of those corners. And Michael in as well, so Michael in for a replacing wing. It's going to be an expensive day for the spares department at these teams, that is for sure. Michael coming out in P16 just ahead of Blizzard, so we might get a good decent, and we just saw Alex coming out as well, so I think Alex must have had a wing change as well, because that's why he's still down, because R2 has got ahead of all 3 of them. So Michael, having started P14, he was making good progress through the field, Andy, but then that one mistake's put him back, and now he's going to try and get past Blizzard. Once again, before I switch back to you, can he go round the outside? That's not a great camera view. Oh, he's going to get squeezed, and he has to back out of it, because Blizzard was not going to give him the room. So that was a feisty little moment between those 2 drivers. But yeah, well, where does Michael go from here, Andy? I mean, this has not gone well for him at all.
Well, as I said there before he made that pit stop, it is now damage limitation. Those hard tyres, if you look after them, should be able to get to the end of the race, but of course any tyres that are going 20 odd laps are going to be very second hand by the end. He is harrying the back of that Renault Blizzard right now, coming up to the castle section. Right, he needs to keep calm, he needs to keep cool. Still a long way to go in this race yet. He doesn't want to go trucking that car up the inside just for the sake of trying to get by, but he does at the same time need to get by as quickly as possible. Tactician has just got past on Danny coming onto the main straight as the leaders come into pit lane. So Schnitzel's in, Casper's in, Truesdale in as well as his Tactician. Expect a flurry of action now in the pit stops, and they're all coming in. The only one that hasn't is Nicholas Matteo. Yellow flag in sector 3. I'm going to try and find out who that might be. It's disappeared, but the pit stops in effect now, and it's a very, very busy pit lane just now.
Yeah, very busy pit lane, and no problems for Schnitzel now coming out into the traffic, but he is still the net leader for the time being, so he's going to have a little bit of overtaking to do. He's got Hugo from Safe Frosty having a fierce battle up ahead, so Schnitzel's going to have to pick his moments here because he doesn't want to get caught up in this, because it's so easy to damage your wing here, especially in sector 2, which has so many narrow corners where you can easily just clump a bit of carbon fibre off the front of your car, as we have seen from several drivers here today so far. Lap 7 then of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and well, the main stories are, you know, Schnitzel, main championship rival Michael, had a poor qualifying session, and it's gone from bad for worse for him during the race, clumping the barrier at turn 1, damaging his wing, and now he's trying to make his way back up the order. He's actually just overtaken Blizzard and Danny MGs. He's back up to his original grid slot, so he'll probably think, okay, well, my race starts again right here. Let's see if I can get at least some points here. But Tyrrell Schnitzel on those fresh hard tyres will be looking to go to the end of the race and have to get past Hugo first. So let's have a quick look at the tyres at the moment. So everyone bar Nicholas Matteo on the hard compound at the moment. So that's interesting, but I think we may get a potential for a free wide situation here, because Hugo's been harrying the back of that McLaren for lap after lap. So So if he can get a good exit and Schnitzel on that fresher rubber will certainly get good traction. So it's going to be a double toe. So Stay Frosty, well, he may be melting a little bit under that cockpit as these two cars charge after him. But if anything, Hugh Golf didn't get the best exit. So I think Hugh Golf's going to have to set aside for the championship leader. Here we go then. Schnitzel back up to P3. Can he take both of them in one corner? Well, surely he's not going to go for that. Whoa, he had to think about it, but yeah, he was never going to be close enough to take both cars. But I think it's a question of if. The question of when, I should say, not if he gets past Dave Frosty, such as the entire advantage he has at this stage of the race. So let's just have a quick look down the order. Tactician. Oh, and VSR Wayne has, oh dear, VSR Wayne got that horribly wrong. And well, promising qualifying session. The yellow flags are out, but he should recover that. But yeah, he got that totally wrong, and he has now fallen back to the rear of the field once again. And Stave Frosty currently in P2. It's got Tyrrell Schnitzel right behind him in this battle for P2. And up ahead, Nicholas Mateo currently in the lead. Just a reminder, he has retired from all 3 races so far, Andy. So Nicholas Mateo, even if he doesn't get points, I think a finish would be at least something for him.
Yeah, definitely so, especially with how the first 3 races have gone for him. But that pit stop phase, just want to jump back to everyone pitting, it's worked out beautifully for Schnitzel. Obviously being the first one in, out of pretty much everyone else, has meant that he's still in P3, having made his stop. He's only got 2 drivers ahead of him that are still at stop, so it's a net lead in the race. The nearest person behind that has stopped is Casper, who's all the way down in P7 at the moment, so that's given him about 4 seconds. So that's worked out beautifully for him, and this race has just fallen into place. You also saw a bit with Wayne there. He had just made his way up to 9th place, going past Tactician when he made that mistake, and that was such a shame because he seemed to be getting a bit of a move on there before all of that happened. And bit in the chat saying that an Irish commentator, no, I'm Scottish. Surely most people know that by now. And if my voice did crack, well, I'm not going to tell you how that happened, but it was a bit messy.
Yeah, and as we just saw that, Nicholas Mateo peeled off into the pits to finish his stint on the mediums, and Schnitzel at the same time overtook Stave Frosty to take back the lead of this race. Although Stave Frosty has a little bit of a run on Schnitzel out turn 2, but isn't going to get anywhere near Schnitzel in time to go for this corner. So we're going to have a look at some of the action down the order, but just going to see Hugh Golf still battling Stave Frosty hard. They made early pit stops here. And let's just see who hasn't stopped yet in this particular race. Well, Stave Frosty, Hugh Golf, Danny Alves and Speed Bari have yet to stop, so only 4 drivers yet to make their first stops of the race. So let's have a look at Nicholas Mateo. Nicholas Mateo actually coming out in P8, so that's actually worked out pretty well for him. So he's on course for a good point score, battling away with Tactician. Ollie D just behind. Michael is trying to make his way back up the order, but at the moment there's a lot of close battles at the moment. And so it's maybe a case of just picking one. So Casper, let's have a look at Casper versus Speed Bari. So Speed Bari has started on the hard combat, so when he pits for the mediums later on, he'll be able to, well, maybe. Do you think these hard runs, will they go deep into the race, Andy, and maybe put the soft tyre on at the end of the race to have rapid pace?
Well, it's a very good possibility. I mean, if we've got drivers that are starting in the top 10 who had, pitted early and are going to run these hards 20 plus laps, then it's quite feasible that we could see some of those that started in the hard tyres going to lap 18, lap 20, putting the soft tyres on. They will have a lighter car. It won't be as abrasive on the tyre. It should easily get them to the end. And if they're still able to keep within the top 10, you never know. We might finally see someone picking up the bonus point. At the moment, it is going to the championship leader and race leader Schnitzel, who's got a 41.552 as Michael, is Harry and Alex and the other Mercedes coming down the front straight. I was talking about how it's all going well for the championship leader. Well, his teammate at the moment is just about holding up his championship rival into turn number 1. Does Michael go late on the brakes? He does, but Alex is going to hold it round the outside. Now up the inside, he's got a better run out the corner into turn number 2. Alex is going to hold it round the outside there, gets a little squeeze, nothing wrong with that, and Michael is finally through. It's going to allow the Haas to come by as well. Danny is going to get his way through possibly as well on Alex there, but that's a few laps that took Michael to get past the wall. That was Blizzard's hit on there.
Oh
Blizzard,
yeah, as Alex with a huge hit, and Blizzard had nowhere to go and just followed him into the barrier, and Wayne has just retired as well. Not sure, that must have been right next to him. Where did Wayne crash? Oh, must have been just ahead of him. So yeah, bit of carnage at the back of the field. Alex slamming to really harden the door. I'm amazed he kept that car going after that contact. Wayne called it a day, and Blizzard, well, he hit the wall hard as well. Didn't have anywhere to go, but I think he outbraked himself anyway. So, yeah, as one Mercedes starts to take complete command of this race, his teammate, well, way out the points as well after that big contact. So just seeing any other battles. So Casper now closing onto the back of Daniel Alves as he seeks to get back into that second place position. And this should be a fairly easy overtake. Daniel Alves is going to not make it too easy for him, but then he switches back to the right and says, yep, away you go. Almost a blue flag pass, such was the ease of it for Casper. Up ahead though, Hugo still harassing Save Frosty in this great battle for P2. And well, going back to that incident we just saw at the back of the field, I'm amazed that Alex kept that going. He hit that wall incredibly hard.
It was a right old thump that he gave to the wall for sure. Just like it looked like to me with the angle I had, and they were saying Blizzard just locked up possibly by the looks of what I could see, and just caught the back of him as well, which didn't help. And yeah, not great. He's now Alex picking up a 5-second time penalty. So yeah, that's just compounded his misery there. Blizzard having another horrible race, and Michael's just made his way past on R2, so he's now on the cusp of the points. We've got yellow flags in sector 3, and it's Blizzard who's decided to call it a day in pit lane. So 3 retirements now. Wayne's already out and Alonso out as well, so we're down to 14 drivers. Alex is in the pit. He's about to come back out, but he's going to be a long way behind everybody now. Could he still maybe play a bit of a spoiler role, maybe later on help his teammate out? You never know. Things have happened that have been a lot stranger, but it's just getting better and better for Schnitzel at the moment. He's nearly 3 seconds clear of Frosty, who's still to pit. He's nearest to a pit stop runner is Casper, who's 5 seconds down on him. And with Michael still outside the points at the moment, although catching up to Tactician pretty quickly, it's looking a pretty rosy day at the moment, although we are just approaching half distance now in a couple of laps. So anything can still happen here. Beautiful overhead shots I've just had there. The old and the new city of Baku is such a wonderful place here sitting on the Caspian Sea. It looks absolutely marvellous.
Yes, and finally Hugo's going to get past the McLaren of Save Frosty. Up to P2 he goes. These two haven't... Oh, and it ran wide. I thought he was going to do what Michael did earlier in the race. Going to have a quick look at Michael actually, because he's very close to the back of another car. And yes, he is. He's very close to the back of Tactician. This is a battle for what would be the final championship point. And he may be able to take both, because Ollie D has no overspeed at front. Oh, Michael's half thinking about it. He's going to move up to P10, but he knows what happened earlier when he took a bit too much speed into turn 1, which totally destroyed his race in terms of fighting at the front, because in terms of the gap he has in terms of the leader, he is 22 seconds. So basically the entire pit stop now behind his chief rival in this early stage of the AOR F1 Season 18, but up to P10. But it's very much a damage limitation exercise now for the Season 16 champion, as he now tries to harass his Renault into a mistake, but hopefully not a mistake in the castle section, because otherwise he'll have nowhere to go if he bins it there. We've seen a few pile-ups in the past in other leagues, and of course in past AOR seasons. But Michael then trying to get past his Renault up to P9. It feels like he did this earlier on in the race before he made his big mistake through the castle section, which I don't know about you, Andy, but whenever I approach that castle section, I'm always feeling a little bit twitchy on the controller. We're just thinking, yeah, just get it through there. Don't touch any of those barriers, whatever you do.
I go through there like a granny driving a micro to the shops on a Sunday morning through that castle section. The amount of times I've binned it there is ridiculous. I probably took half of the old city walls out on the left-hand side. Just noticing a bit there in the comments section, Speed Barry up in 6th place, still to pit at the moment. He's had damage to the right-hand side of his front wing since about lap number 4. The message there in the chat, thank you very much for pointing that out, just making me aware of that there. But I did have a look, you can see it if you jump to him. He's doing a pretty good job. He's still sticking pretty close to the cars ahead. He's about 1.92 seconds behind Daniel Alves. It's been pretty stable for a while. Truesdale's just caught up. Michael's just flew by on Ollie D into turn 1 round the outside. Nice little DRS pass there. Now the Renault will try and return the favour. Obviously Barry being on the hard tyres, trying to just make it last as long as he can, knowing that he is running that long stint, and he's doing pretty good at the moment. It's another impressive performance and a good bounce back so far, considering the crash he did in qualifying as well. So it's looking good. We did get told last week this is the last of his worst races. Everything else after Spain is a pretty good track for him. So it's good performances so far. Could get better as the year goes on.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he performed excellently Had China last week to get his first podium in this tier. So he'll be looking for more of that as the season unfolds. So Stay Frosty's actually managed to stay pretty close to Hugolf, so I think we could see some more action. But finally, Casper had a few quiet laps. I think he was building up battery again. Speaking of which, I finally turned on the telemetry. I completely forgot to do that earlier on. But Casper has caught these two drivers, so we could potentially get a 3-wide situation here, because Hugolf and Stay Frosty seem to have similar disparity in straight line speed when either one of them has the DRS, so there is a bit of a speed difference with that, so they're not cancelling each other out. And if anything, Casper with the fresher rubber, much fresher rubber, 6-lap younger tyres, I think he's going to make a move now on Stay Frosty. We get a nice overview shot. And here we go then, can Casper make the move to get back onto the podium? And in fact, look at this, a late lunge by Stay Frosty head. Oh, and he has made a big mistake there. He licked the stamp, but the postal service was closed. That is not good whatsoever. Stay Frosty, huge mistake, having such a solid stint as he prepared to do his pit stop in a few laps time. And we've seen so many mistakes at turn 1 today. It's unusual. I mean, you understand when you see mistakes in the narrow twisty sections of this track, but turn 1 there's so much runoff there. I'm surprised, Andy, we've seen so many people clumping the barrier. I mean, especially on the inside part of it, you don't normally see that.
Yeah, just trying too hard to get it turned into the apex and carry the speed through, just turning too much and just clipping the wall on the inside. Speed Barry's being in, changed his wing. Michael has got himself side by side at the moment with Ollie D, just coming back to that at the moment, and Ollie D's got the move done. And look at that, Nicholas Mateo's going to steal by as well, so Michael actually losing out on 2 positions there as Ollie D regains his point, and then he loses another to Nicholas Mateo, so that's not good for Michael at all. He also mentioned about Frosty licking the stamp, sending it, and they got returned to sender basically. Wing damage there. He is understeering badly through the castle section, trying to get back to pit lane as quickly as possible. Need to be a set of medium tyres now for him to get to the end of this race. But Nicholas Mateo very opportunistic there after Ollie had managed to squeeze Michael into what was turn number 4, and he had a Haas driver sneaking up the inside. The Moten, the Williams back down to 9th. Nice wee battle brewing here, 7th, 8th, 9th, but Tactician just hanging onto the back of him in 10th position as well. And it'll be interesting to see if Michael can finally make those positions back up and maybe try and pull away, but it's going to be very hard with the DRS zones here. Here we go through turns 19 and 20 we go. DRS going to be wide open. Nicholas Mateo's going to have it as well on Ollie D. Pulls to the outside, onto the left hand side he goes. Where is Michael? We're going 3 wide. He's going down the middle as the Williams driver. Who's going to come out into turn 1 ahead? And this could be a fantastic move from Michael. He's going to try and hang it round the outside off the Haas. Still side by side heading up towards turn number 2 now. Who's going to hold out? And the Williams driver is ahead. And that is a fantastic little move there. Split the 2 of them down the middle into turn number 1. Held on round the outside and into turn 2. He takes over what is now 6th position. Great driving from all involved. Nicholas Mateo tries to go back through up into turn number 3. Unable to do so. Beautiful stuff there. Michael through the middle, round the outside. 2 into 1 and he steals back both positions as Ollie D regains 7th off of Nicholas Mateo, getting a better run out of turn number 4.
Yeah, what a crazy race we're getting in the midfield. This is great action as Casper's now caught onto the back of Hugolf, so we're going to keep an eye on that little battle. But yeah, Michael going up and down the order, but finally gets the job done. Alex retires from the race. He's called it a day. So Nicholas Mateo, this has been his best showing so far this season, so if he keeps his up, he's definitely on course for a point score here today. But Ollie D was able to sneak back in front of him. We're going to switch to the battle for P2 because now finally Casper has caught Hugolf in a sort of kill zone position. If he just gets this final sector right, he should be able to get right to the back of that racing point. And it looks like Hugolf's about to make a pit stop because he's peeled off to the left. He normally wouldn't go that far to the left. And yeah, into the pit stop Hugolf. Very solid first stint from Hugolf, and he'll be on the medium compound for the end of the race. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on, assuming he doesn't have any damage, which will cost some time. Because I think Speed Barry, we got yellows in sector 1, but I think that was Alex's car retiring from the race. So 4 retirements so far, 2 of the VSR drivers, RC Alonso and Alex. So Casper back up to the P2, but the amount of time he's lost in the traffic at the pit stops, I mean, he's ended up 7 seconds behind. And oh, that Mercedes is still on track, just trundling along. I hope no one gets caught out by that. As Speed Barry sets the fast lap of the race at 1:41.135. Is this going to be the 4th race in a row, Andy, where we don't get that fastest lap point awarded?
Well, at the moment, with 13 drivers, it's possible, but it's more likely we might actually see it this week, because if there's a few more, it's Nicholas Matteo and Nolly are still battling over 6th position, side by side into turn number 3, and the Haas just pushes wide, and away he goes, and he's finally got through. Hugo is pitted at the right time, though, from running long, because all this battling in the midfield meant he pitted, and he's in 4th position, meaning that's a big gain for the Racing Point driver. Means he's up 8 positions, Michael up 9. They're the biggest gainers in this race, but that is an absolute treat for Hugo, and he's now in the top 4, but he does have Michael coming up behind him pretty quickly, and the rest of the train with Nicholas Matteo, Ollie, Tactician and Danny are catching up as well. But Schnitzel 7.5 seconds clear from Casper. Tuesdale in 3rd. They're looking pretty solid for the possibility of being on the podium, as long as they don't make any major mistakes towards the end of this race. But the battles for 4th onwards is anybody's guess at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's just a fantastic sim from Hugo to get that done. All the battling behind, as you mentioned, has put him in a great position to get 12 championship points, and he'll have the better tyres as well. So I don't think Michael's going to be able to catch him for 4th unless he picks up penalties. Incidentally, I've not, apart from pit lane penalties, I've not actually seen any corner cut penalties so far. It's not really a track where there's too many opportunities to get one. But as the battles continue, then Michael's got a gap to Nicholas Matteo, so this battle for 6th looks like it's going to be the main action with the Reds. And here comes Ollie D looking for a move around the inside, and right behind him Danny MG and Tactician getting involved as well. Tactician successfully defending against Danny MG, so nice work from Tactician, who's looking for his first AOR F1 points today as Danny Alves picks up penalties. Not been a good race for McLaren, P12 and P13 at the moment. We'll just switch to Danny MG. Any movement in this battle for P6? And and a huge lunge! A huge lunge by Danny MG, and has he got it slowed down? Yes, he has. My goodness, what a move by Danny MG. He came from a mile back. He may as well have been in a different country. That's how far he came back from. The Tactician, fair play to him, gave him the space, but that was an extremely risky move from Danny MG, especially on a street circuit like this, and not at a corner where you want to try a move like that normally. But what a move by Danny MG, Andy.
Definitely so. It needed a little bit of cooperation from Tactician as well, but he managed to get it slowed down. There was so much overspeed. Just like you, I thought it was going to be a bit of an accident there into turn 3, but he got the move coming into the corner, and that worked out very nicely indeed. Tactician's going to have to try. Oh, that was Nicholas Mateo's just caught the wall there, going through turn 14. That's damaged his wing on the right hand side, and that's going to really hamper him there. I just seen the carbon fibre flying off there as they came flying through turns 13, 14 and up towards 15. That's going to not do him any favours at all as we come to the end of this race, and from what was looking pretty solid for a good amount of points, he's probably going to fall away now, because he's got Ollie D, Danny, Tactician, R2 and Speed Barrier not too far off either. He could drop out of the top 10 pretty easily here with that mistake. Yeah,
Ollie D's gonna, look at that, look at the overspeed they've got on Nicholas Matteo, and Ollie D's going to try and go around the outside. There's slight contact between the two. Ollie D just about getting it slowed down, but Nicholas Matteo maintains the place. This is allowing Tactician and Speed Barrier to all catch up. R2's involved as well. Every point being fought for. Unbelievable stuff in. Ollie D is going to try and give. I think Ollie D may have damaged too, because I think he had a bit of contact a few laps ago. And round the outside with DRS, Ollie D goes. That's well slowed down. So Nicholas Matteo falls down to P7. He may not yet get any points with that damage, but I think several of the drivers are running wounded cars. There's huge gaps in the top 5, so there's not going to be any battling between them by the looks of it. But Danny MG in P8 trying to get past his cars, but Speed Barry I think is the guy to really keep an eye out for. He's on fresh mediums, or at least fresher mediums, and he's going to be trying to get past this group of cars to get some solid points. P6 will be the best that any of these guys can do. So Ollie D has overtaken Nicholas Matteo, trying to break that DRS, get out of this darn train. He's been in it seemingly the whole race, but here comes Speed Barry. Right on the back of Tactician now. Not going to go for a move here. It'd be suicidal to go for an overtake right there. I've never seen anyone pull it off unless another car was badly damaged and got a poor exit. But Speed Barry then trying to put Tactician under pressure. Tactician himself on for his first points in F1. But here comes Speed Barry then, putting Tactician under pressure. There's plenty of battling going on up ahead, and I think Danny MG is trying to get past his teammate. It's going to pull on the. We will see Speed Barry behind as well. The camera will pick it up. Danny MG gets past Nicholas Matteo. What about Speed Barry? Can Speedbarry make a move to the inside on the fresher rubber? He has a think about it, but not quite close enough. Danny MG picks up a time penalty for going wide a few too many times. And now we're on lap 19 of this particular race, so please show your support in the chat for Anthoine Hubert. Hashtag 19 or hashtag Hubert, whichever you want to do. 5th retirement of the race as VP Stay Frosty. The 5th retirement of this particular race. We're going to let the action just speak for itself for the rest of this lap. And we will rejoin the action at the start of lap 20. And so Speedbarry trying to get past Tactician, but once again being frustrated, and Ollie D's been dragged into this battle yet again, and he just can't seem to get away from these guys, even with half the field seemingly with damaged wings.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that slipstream is just keeping everybody together. Just can't get away. Just can't pull away from everybody else. And it's just, there we go, Danny going past now down the front straight on Ollie D. And you can see in the background there, Speedbarry having to defend massively from Daniel Alves, just coming round the outside there on the Toro Rosso. Can McLaren hold position? No, he gets squeezed out to the outside wall there and has to think better off it one more time. But everybody's in a slipstream train and a DRS train here, so we've got 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th all battling over one piece of track. R2's we're 3 seconds back off of this. He could easily catch up before long as well in the Ferrari, and we might have a bit of a scrap for the last few laps as we go into the final stages now. It could be anybody that takes the final points paying positions from 6 downwards at the moment. Hopefully everybody makes it home and doesn't crash during the last 6 laps, because that could make a big difference as well. You just never know. At the moment, fastest lap is Stay Frosty, and he is out of the race. So I don't think for the 4th race running, I don't think we're going to see the extra point award just yet.
Yeah, this way I'm not sure we're going to see it at all this season, Andy. I mean, yeah, so once again, Stay Frosty in the fast lap in the 1:40. He's the only driver to do so far. But he is in P13 and out of the race. So unless someone pits late, I don't think we're going to see that point awarded. It just seems such a tightness of the field here. Just no one seems to have the opportunity in the top 10 to do it. But let's have a look at Speedbarry. He was defending furiously from Danny Alves' previous lap, but he looks a little bit closer to Tactician so far. I mean, this battle from P6 all the way down to P11, one mistake and you're going to be well out of this battle. Closing stages then, lap 21 of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix for AOR F1. Can Speedbarry get any closer? They're kind of cancelling each other out at the moment, maybe trying to build up some battery again. And look at that, Alves trying to go around the outside once again. Oh, and he clips the wall, but I think he get away with it. Oh, we've seen a few drivers clump that wall at turn 1. They've got away with it. Just about, Andy.
Yeah, no visible damage for sure. Didn't see anything coming off the car. It was the rear wheel, especially on the right hand side, that clumped the wall. So it looks like he's got away with that one to what we can see on screen. But as you say, one small mistake, although he's still there at the moment. If that had been a bigger hit and he lost a bit of ground, it would have taken a bit of time to catch back up. But you know, everybody fighting for position. Nicholas Matteo with that damaged front wing is defending P8 like it was a win for the... Oh, still picking up a penalty. Shouldn't make any difference, obviously, at the moment. But Matteo fighting for P8 like it was for the final race of the season. He was going for the championship and he needed to win the championship. He's doing a sterling job at the moment, but he has got penalties as well. So he will drop down in the closing stages unless any of the other drivers around pick up penalties. There isn't many, apart from the ones that we've seen for those who are DNF'd in terms of pit stops. Nicholas Matteo does have one, I think. Obviously Schnitzel we just seen there. I think Danny might do as well, but he's just about out of reach at the moment. If he can find another 8 times the last couple of laps, he should be okay. But we'll just wait and see at the end of the race. There's some drivers out there, when I had a look, hadn't even picked up a single warning in the race, and regardless of whether this is a bit of an easier track to avoid warnings or not, I still think that's massively impressive.
Yeah, look at this tactician trying to make a move on Nicholas Matteo, and I think Nicholas Matteo is finally, that damage he picked up earlier is finally starting to have an effect, because he's starting to drop down the field. A bit reminiscent of the real Haas cars, unfortunately. Nicholas Matteo drops down to P10, loses 2 positions of tactician speed bar in one corner. He may lose one to Alves, drop out of points completely. And Alves and Matteo going side by side momentarily. Alves picks up the position though, into P10 he goes. Can Nicholas Matteo come back at him? I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to just drop time now. I think there's too much damage to that car, so I think Nicholas Matteo just needs to focus on finishing the race, to get his first finish in the season. Who knows, someone may still crash in the opening, the closing stages of this race, who may yet still pick up a point. So your current top 10 in this race: Tyrell Schnitzel leading by nearly 9.4 seconds to Casper. Truesdale in P3 looking to pick up another podium this season, which would be his 3rd of the season. Hugh Golf in P4, a brilliant P4 in fact, because he did a long stint on the hard tyres and he did so well with all the battling going behind. He had a huge gap when he came out on those fresh mediums. Jim Michael, it's been a race to forget for him really, because given his outstanding form so far this season, being on the podium every single race, including a victory at Shanghai last week in the Chinese Grand Prix, a nightmare qualifying, and then a really patchy race for his highest standards. Hitting the barrier at turn 1, forcing him to get a wing change, so he's only, P5's probably going to be the best he can do, and in fact he's starting to drop time to 10 EMG interestingly, so that little battle may yet have another twist in the turn, so he may yet drop more positions if he doesn't get a move on. And then Danny MG in 6th, Ollie D in 7th, Tactician 8th, although he may be about to be demoted to P9, a speed Bari tries to get past him. He's been trying to get past this Alfa Romeo for some time now. And watch out for Daniel Alves behind. It may be 3 wide side. Oh, and a late move by Speed Bari. And here comes Daniel Alves. He's going to try and take both of them in one corner. And he does. Daniel Alves has taken both of them in the corner. Oh, slight wheel banging from Speed Bari and Tacticians. Nick Matteo picks up another time penalty just to add insult to injury. But Daniel Alves, another sneaky move. We've seen several of them in this race, but that was great stuff from Alves there, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Obviously had to make a bit of a late move there. He tried to go to the outside line. Barry went and took the racing line, and he just sticks it up between the two of them, up the inside into turn number 1. Beautifully done. Nicholas Matteo's just had a spin at turn 3 as well, and he's lost the full end of his front wing and retires on the track as well. So we're down to 11 drivers now, and it's another retirement for the Haas driver. Is that all 4 races now? I think you said earlier he's not finished a race so far.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
not what he wants.
I think he has the worst finish record of anyone who's taken part in all 4 races. Well, I mean, yeah, nil points and 4 retirements, but I'm sure we saw glimpses of Nicholas Matteo's qualities, so I'm sure he will turn around his luck sooner rather than later, and hopefully he can start that at the Spanish Grand Prix in a week's time. And I can't believe we're on round 5 already next week. It's going quickly, but we've had some great action so far. It's been less about the battle of the lead today, but the midfield action has been some of the best we've seen so far this season. As Speed Bari now attempts to regain P8, which he had for a second, Andy, well, less than a second in fact, before Alves dived down the 2 of them in Tactician.
Yeah, definitely so there. I just caught a wee glimpse there of Nicholas Matteo. Not happy with Ollie D. Speaking of Ollie D, he's going for the other Haas now. Into turn 1, side by side with Danny. He's going to get squeezed to the outside, still side by side, nearly heading for turn 2, but the Spaniard cuts him off at the pass and holds on to P6. But yeah, Nicholas Matteo left at least a wee message there in the PSN chat we have for the league, and he's not too happy with the Renault driver, but here we go. Ollie's going to try and go the long way around into turn 3 again, and Danny's ran wide there, forces Ollie wide, and Daniel Alves is going to come through, and now they're nearly in the wall. Now Ollie's going to go up the inside. He's going to finally get that place back, or is he? Because they're still side by side into what is now 5 and 6, and after all of that it stays exactly pretty much as it was. Danny's still ahead. Ollie D in 7th, Daniel's in 8th, ahead of Speed Bari and Tactician. We've got a nice little battle here for the last couple of laps, but I think everybody changed places about 3 times in the space of 3 corners there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, midfield insanity here at Baku. often we see some really crazy fighting here, but this is getting very borderline personal between Danny MG and Ollie D. There was a late move on the straight by Danny MG, and Ollie D nearly crashed into the back of him. This has actually been a relief to Michael, because these guys were actually catching Michael, but all that battling on this lap has meant the lead between Michael and Danny MG went from 1.8 seconds to nearly 4. So that's a lot of time lost. So Ollie D is going to try and get past the Haas once again. Tyrrell Snitzel entering his penultimate lap with a 10-second lead, which would be by far the biggest lead advantage we've seen this season for a race win. Everything has gone perfectly for Tyrrell Snitzel. He's going to get a command lead, but before that, here comes Ollie D. He's going to try and get through him. Watch out for Hugo. Oh my goodness, he nearly hit the pit entry, but Alves is going to try and take both, be a second double move in the race. Oh, slight contact behind. But Ollie D is going to maintain P6. Daniel Alves is up to P7. He's going to try and get up to P6 as well. These cars are so close. I'm amazed we've not seen a huge accident. I mean, that may be tempting fate, I have to be honest. But Daniel Alves is going to out-drag him down the straight. And can he get the car slowed down? And yes, I think he is going to. And that is another superb move from Daniel Alves. Up to P6 he goes. P7. I mean, Ollie D's had P6 so many times, and then loses it moments later. It's like going to the casino and winning 1,000, then losing it instantly on the next hand. Just unbelievable midfield action here today. It's been the absolute highlight of this race, without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm glad, because there's been a non-event for the race win here today. But Andy, as we prepare for the final lap, I mean, what are you making of this action? This is absolutely thrilling stuff.
It's unbelievable stuff. I thought Danny was going to end up in the pit lane wall there, 3 wide down into turn number 1. Daniel Alves will be the happiest out of that lot. Danny is fighting all he can, because he does have a 3-second penalty. So at the moment, he's actually possibly going to drop out of the points altogether, because R2 is just within 3 seconds off him just now. So that's definitely not going to help. And the Ferrari driver might still pick up a cheeky wee point here, R2, despite the fact that he's not had the greatest of races here, getting caught up in a few instance early doors. But we are now on the final lap, and well, what can you say about Schnitzel's drive here today? You know, stuck on pole position, took the lead into turn number 1, carried on, just kept out everyone's way. Pit stops came at the right time, because everyone else pitted as well. Came out just behind a few drivers that were running long, and it's been flawless. It's a bit similar to what Michael did last week. The only difference is Schnitzel's done it from pole position, and all he needs to do is just complete this final last few corners, and he's going to take his 3rd race victory in 4 races. We shout there, LeGrand Course in the chat, what happened for Michael? Well, he started down in 14th position, had some incidents early doors where he had wing damage as well, which dropped him back through the field. It's been a great recovery drive for him when you consider everything that's happened in this race. And I did say earlier it had to be damage limitation for him. P5 still going to give him a good bit of points, but he's going to lose out on about 15 points to his championship rival. That means it's going to be nearly a full race victory between.
Yeah, and here comes Michael then, heading for the straight for the final time. It has been one comfortable time out there for the Mercedes, and reigning AOR F1 champion Tyrrell Snitzel will take the checkered flag and the Azerbaijan Grand Prix victory. And Casper, well, return to form for him. A distant, lonely 10.5 seconds behind, but it's a 2nd podium of the season for the Alfa Romeo driver. And Truesdale, the season 15 champion, will take his 3rd podium of the season in a solid P3. And Hugh Golf, well, one of the stars of the day. Let's go back to Danny MG and all that lot, because they deserve some time right at the end of this race. Will there be any change of position? Speed bar, he's got a good run on Danny MG. Is he going to get anywhere near it? Oh, yellow. Oh, Danny Alves has retired on the last lap. Oh, goodness me.
I'll give you what happened there in a minute. Let's see them all across the line, because Danny's going to lose out as well here with penalties, so he's going to end up in 10th, I believe. But yeah, plenty going on. Daniel Alves, it looked like when I picked it back up, it looked like he got bullied. He had no front wing in terms of either end plates. They were both completely gone, so when he's crashed, he's just understeered into the wall completely. But he got absolutely mugged, and then everybody just flew by him with that wing damage. But yeah, everybody has finished the race, so there have been now only 10 places. 10 people finishing the race means everybody gets a point at least.
Yes, and well, that was a dramatic race, especially in the midfield. But Tyrrell Snitzel, well, he had a pretty quiet race after the, keeping the lead on the opening lap, and he celebrates with Casper and the season 15 champion Truesdale, but takes a commanding lead of the championship after these opening 4 rounds. And Well, he is sitting pretty, the reigning and defending champion, as he continues a really successful defense of his championship so far. He has finished in the top 2 every single race, and 3 of them have ended in victories at Australia and Bahrain, and now here at Azerbaijan. So your provisional top 10 for this particular race: Tyrrell Snitzel takes the victory despite getting a 3-second penalty. Casper in P2 superbly. Truesdale in P3. Hugh Golf, arguably one of the candidates driver of the day, P12 to P4. Jim Michael, a race to forget. It looked so promising early on, then he made that major mistake at turn 1. P5 was the best he could get, losing valuable ground championship. Ollie D in 6th, Speedbar in 7th, Tactician in 8th, Danny MG in 9th, and LR 2. So all the F2 graduates now have points in the season, so congratulations to them. And the rest of the field, well, we have 7 retirements in this particular race, so it's been a very interesting race indeed. In the top tier of AOR F1. We're not going to have interviews today, so instead we're going to have a quick chat with Andy, because we're 4 races in, and the championship, Andy, is starting to take shape, isn't it? We've seen, you know, some nail-biting races in the opening 2. You know, Australia was all about Michael versus Schnitzel, and then another Williams driver, Truesdale, battling Schnitzel at Bahrain, and then China was superbly won by Michael, and then Schnitzel back on top again, and going into the Spanish Grand Prix next week, he's been the man to beat so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, 3 victories out of 4 there. You know, you mentioned it, obviously, at the start of the season, it was him and Michael, and Truesdale as well in Bahrain, along with features as well in Bahrain. A bit of a to and fro in the first couple of races. China, Michael had a pretty much exemplary drive, having got ahead in the first lap into P2 ahead of Schnitzel, and then just drove away from everyone else later on in the race. And that's pretty much what Schnitzel's done here tonight, is he's just got himself into the right position, pole position, away from the line, kept out of trouble, and just drove away. We didn't see much of the Mercedes, but again, just like Michael last week, as I was saying, when you don't see someone who's out in the lead that much, that means they're doing everything right, and it's just the perfect race for you. The midfield scrap through the rest of this year is going to be absolutely chaotically beautiful in many places, because that today, with the amount of passing, Danny, Ollie, Nicholas Matteo, Daniel Alves, Speed Barry in there as well. Good recovery. I did notice in the chat, Speed Barry had no DRS at one point as well in the last few laps, so that wasn't helping him at all. And they were just back and forth all race, and it's just going to be absolutely fantastic to watch how this all unfolds through the rest of this season, because we're going to have a number of stories. We're going to have to fight up the front with like Schnitzel and Michael predominantly, I do think it will be, and then you're going to have that midfield scrap week on week as well, and it's just going to be absolutely fantastic as we go through the rest of the year.
Yes, well, Tyrrell Schnitzel so far has proven himself to be the class of the field, and you know, the likes of, you know, Schnitzel and Flores, who we hope to see a few more races from him, and Truesdale, they're going to have to come back and think about it, because in this kind of form, Schnitzel is going to surely win more races. So can the competition respond? Can they prevent him from becoming a double champion? We shall see. We will be back at the circuit, the Catalunya, Barcelona, for the Spanish Grand Prix next week. And we're going to sign off now. No interviews this evening. They'll be back next week. But thanks for watching, and see you next time on AOR F1.